Hey guys, this is Black Bolt. I hope everyone is staying safe and healthy. So this video was my 110,000 mile update, and also just wanted to talk about some tips and tricks that I have when I'm operating my Bolt. And I want to start off by thanking all of the people who are subscribers. My initial goal when I started the channel was to hit 100 subscribers by the end of 2020, and today is January 6th and we just got our 200th subscriber. So thank you to you all. And then I also just want to note that over the past 28 days, I think there were 7,000 unique views of the channel. So if you are one of those unique views who has not yet subscribed, if you get value from the channel, please like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow. And then my goal over the next 3 months, let's say, is to get the channel up to 1,000 subscribers. So thank you again, and here we go. So right now, as I drive, the car is at 110,140 miles. And of those miles, I have driven it 61,119 miles. So I have a lot of experience driving this particular EV. And that's been just under 18 months because I bought this car on July 31st of 2019. The last 10,000 miles have been pretty uneventful. I changed the tires before it started snowing. I've got the recall, and so far as the recall goes, 95% capacity. I've been getting about 150 miles per charge, which is pretty cool. It's not as much as I would like, but it's not as bad as I thought it would be. And the way that I've been doing that is kind of just maximizing efficiency as much as possible. And so far today, I have driven 70.5 miles and used 23.8 kilowatt hours of energy. And you can see that is a little bit over 3 miles per kilowatt hour, so pretty efficient. For those of you who don't know, each bar in that screen represents your efficiency over the past 5 miles, and then it calculates efficiency over the past 50 miles you've driven using that red line, and that's what it uses to calculate the distance remaining that you have to drive. And the EPA rating is 4 miles per kilowatt hour, so that's where you want to be. And overall, in my driving over 19 months or so, the car is driving at over just about 4 miles per kilowatt hour, so it drops to around 2.93 in winter, and it's around 4.5-ish, and sometimes I get to 5 in the summer. Living in Minnesota, where it's cold for 5 months a year and then it gets extra hot in summer, the number one tip that I can give you is to always precondition your car when it's still plugged into the wall at 240 volts. That way your battery is going to be at the correct temperature before you leave home, and it's not taken away from any of your range to do it that way. And I precondition using the app, but you can also use the key by double tapping on the lock and then hitting the little circle thing and holding it for about 5 seconds. But what preconditioning does is it gets your battery up to the appropriate operating temperature, so the car isn't going to use extra energy warming up the battery, the BMS system, to the right temperature. And then whether it is hot or cold, you get the cabin at the temperature that you need it to be before you set off, so then you're also not wasting additional energy heating or cooling the cabin. My second tip, if you're driving for efficiency, is to keep acceleration below 50 kilowatts. And what that does is it maximizes your efficiency and range, and you can still get up to highway speeds, keeping it at 50 kilowatts or below. I also want to add though that you don't want to do this if you are on a short ramp or if there are people behind you. Just don't be one of those people who pulls into the highway going extra slow and then causes a traffic jam for like 10 miles behind you. Tip number 3 is to drive in L mode for one pedal driving. It's actually really easy to learn how to just use one pedal. I learned how to use one pedal in about 15 minutes when my wife and I originally drove the 2018 Nissan Leaf. And jumping into the Chevy Bolt EV, it was very natural, and it's a lot more fun to drive this way. It's a lot more relaxing, and you simply modulate how fast you go using your right foot. And after you do it for a very short while, you become very accustomed to it. The one warning I have is if you live in a climate where it gets slippery via snow or rain, in those situations I do keep the car in D mode because I want to use the brake pedal to stop, because that gives me access to all of my safety features. And when my wife drives the car, I just advise her to always keep it in D mode, and I can definitely tell that it's less efficient. When she drives, the car shows a significantly reduced miles per kilowatt hour, but she's just not into like all of the techie stuff and trying to figure out how the car works. She just wants to get where she's going safe and quickly, and she's a pretty new driver, so we just have it operate like a traditional car when she drives. Tip number 4 is to use scheduled departure. I'm currently charging using the 120 volt trickle charger, and I have it set to 12 amps and immediate, but you can also set it to charge based on departure, and I have the departure time scheduled for approximately when I would leave home. So on Mondays, if I'm going to, or during the week if I'm going to drive before work, I have scheduled departure set for sometime around 6 or 6:15 a.m. So that's when the car will target to get done charging. So if you do it that way, at around 6 a.m. the car will be done charging and the battery will be warm. So when I precondition it, it warms the cabin and everything is ready to go. You can obviously adjust these times pretty easily. Then if we go back, there is also electric rate preference. So this is where you can schedule it for peak, off peak, or whatever you want. I used to have it scheduled to only charge between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. but what I found is that the car always pulls some electricity when I plug it in, so it's not a very useful feature for me. So usually what I do is I'll plug the car in at 7 p.m. It'll turn off the 240 volt meter, and then at 11 p.m. it turns itself back on and it gets going. So I'm going to change this back to immediate because I want it to charge as much as possible right now during the day. And so I'm going to jump out of the car and show this to you, what I mean. So I'm going to take off my trickle charger for now. Then I'm going to grab that. So I'm going to plug it in and move towards the front of the car. You can see it's going to engage really fast. Turns on, it's green, turns off. And that's because the electric plan that I have, which gives me really cheap electricity, 4.5 cents per kilowatt hour, only works between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. But if your electricity automatically gets cheaper at night, then you can schedule the car to only charge between whatever those non-peak hours are in your jurisdiction. Finally, tip number 5 is to always be charging. GM recommends that you keep the car plugged in at least into a trickle charger at all times when the temperature is below freezing, and this helps preserve battery life, and it also keeps the battery at a good temperature. And yeah, they recommend it, and it also adds 3 to 4 miles an hour to your car. So it never hurts to have additional range in an EV, but you don't ever want to be in a situation where you don't have enough range. And as you could see with my car, I had it plugged in even though I still had 50 something miles of range left today, and I'm not really planning on going anywhere for the rest of the day. In conclusion, do I have any concerns about the car? None whatsoever. It's been a fantastic car. It's a workhorse for me. I drive over 3,500 miles a month. I have not yet been left stranded. It comes with OnStar, so if I do end up stranded, they're gonna come out and help me. And I just love the car overall. It performs really well. It's fun to drive. It's comfortable. The seats are fine for me. And would I buy it again for the price that I bought it at, so $20,200 in 2019, knowing that they can be had for $15,000 today? Yes, I would still buy it for $20,200 in 2019 because it was the best value for a used EV at the time, and it is still the best value for a used EV today. So guys, if you haven't already, Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. Like the video and subscribe and help the channel grow. We want to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of March. Have a great day.